Alright, so you've just dropped into FBC Firebreak, ready to clear out the hiss and look cool doing it, but now you're staring at a menu full of weapons wondering, which of these bad boys should I actually use? Don't worry, you're not alone. Every gun in the game packs a punch in its own way, but let's be real, some of them are just straight up better than others. Whether it's damage output, utility, or just how satisfying it feels to fire, there's definitely a pecking order when it comes to choosing your loadout. Now, unlocking all the weapons isn't something that happens overnight. Outside of your default gear, you're gonna need to spend some of those precious lost assets to expand your arsenal. So instead of blowing your currency on every shiny thing you see, let's break down which weapons are truly worth your time, and which ones you might want to save for later. Stick around, because this tier list might just save your life, or at least save you from using total trash in a boss fight. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! The bolt-action rifle is one of those weapons that feels incredibly satisfying to use when you can actually use it. It hits like a truck, and I mean that literally. Most of the standard hiss enemies go down in a single shot, even without aiming for weak points. And if you do land a shot on a weak spot, you are going to see some of the highest damage numbers in the entire game. It is the kind of weapon that rewards patience and precision, and when it works, it really works. But let us be honest, this rifle is slow. Like, make a sandwich between shots slow. The fire rate is the lowest out of all the weapons in FBC Firebreak, and the reload is not doing it any favors either. Sure, you can cancel the reload animation by firing or using melee attacks, but that is just a band-aid on a bigger problem. If you miss your shot, or if multiple enemies start rushing you, you are going to have a hard time keeping up. This weapon is all about timing, positioning, and making every shot count. That is actually why it ends up at the bottom of most tier lists. Not because it is weak, but because it demands a lot from the player. You are basically signing up for a slower, more methodical playstyle. And in a game where enemies can come at you from every angle, that can be a risky choice. If you love the feeling of lining up that perfect shot and watching enemies drop like dominoes, this is your dream gun. Just do not expect it to carry you through chaotic fights without some serious planning. The submachine gun in FBC, Firebreak, is that one friend who is always pretty good at everything, but never really steals the spotlight. It is reliable, consistent, and easy to get the hang of. Whether you are clearing out a hallway full of smaller hiss or trying to keep your distance in a bigger arena, this weapon holds its own surprisingly well. While technically designed for mid-range combat, it performs just fine up close. Maybe not shotgun level fine, but enough to keep you from getting overwhelmed. That said, when the big guys show up, the ones with oversized health bars and a bad attitude, the submachine gun starts to sweat a little. It simply does not have the raw damage output or staggering power that you need to drop those high health enemies quickly. It is not a matter of poor design, it is just not meant for that kind of pressure. You will need to spend more time and more bullets, which can get you into trouble in the heat of combat. Still, there is something to be said for versatility, and that is exactly what the submachine gun brings to the table. It might not be flashy, but it gets the job done across most scenarios. For newer players, or anyone who prefers a more balanced approach without locking themselves into a specific combat style, it is a solid pick. And once you start upgrading it, the performance jump is noticeable enough to make it feel like a real workhorse in your arsenal. The double-barrel shotgun is the definition of short, sweet, and devastating. It only gives you 2 shots before you have to reload, but each of those shots hits like a truck filled with explosives. It is incredibly satisfying to use, especially when you catch a group of hiss bunched up and send them flying. Even heavy enemies do not walk away from it unscathed. They might not go down immediately, but they will definitely feel it. The stagger effect alone buys you precious time to reposition or finish them off with an ability. This is not the kind of weapon you can stand around with. If you are the type of player who likes to charge in, blast a few enemies in the face, and then vanish before the dust settles, this shotgun is your perfect match. It rewards aggression but punishes carelessness, which means movement is everything. You shoot, you run, you reload, and then you do it all over again. Think of it as the close-range cousin of the bolt-action rifle. Slow reloads, big payoff, but instead of aiming down sights from afar, you are in their face. Still, the double-barrel shotgun is not without its drawbacks. The limited range means you have to get uncomfortably close to your targets, and in a game where enemies can surround you fast, that can be risky. It also suffers from the same issue as the submachine gun, in that it tends to get outclassed by more versatile or powerful weapons later on. But if you are all about that hit-and-run thrill, clearing rooms one loud blast at a time, this weapon brings the fun in a big, booming way. The machine gun is what you grab when you are tired of reloading every 5 seconds and just want to keep shooting. With a whopping 97-round magazine, it is built for crowd control and chaos. It does not hit as hard as some of the other weapons, but it makes up for that by letting you lay down continuous fire across a room full of enemies. Against hordes of weak hiss, it absolutely shines. You can spray, reposition, and keep the pressure on without ever letting up. In many ways, it feels like a beefed-up version of the submachine gun. The two share a similar mid-range role, but the machine gun gives you better damage output per mag and way more breathing room thanks to that massive ammo pool. The trade-off, of course, is reload time. When you do finally run dry, and you will, you are going to be stuck in a long, vulnerable animation. So make those bullets count, especially in tighter fights where downtime can get you overwhelmed. As far as strategy goes, this weapon is not your go-to for taking down tanky enemies or bosses. Its damage per second is serviceable, but not enough to melt through heavy health bars quickly. What it is good at is controlling the pace of a fight, especially when flying enemies or fast-moving mobs come into play. It gives you the freedom to miss a few shots and still come out on top, which is a rare luxury in FBC Firebreak. If you like to be in the middle of the action, holding the line with a steady stream of bullets, the machine gun will feel right at home in your loadout. The Revolver might seem like a humble sidearm at first glance, but do not let its size fool you. This thing packs a serious punch. It is the classic gunslinger's choice for a reason. Each shot deals solid damage, and the fact that bullets can pierce through enemies makes it surprisingly effective when things start to stack up. It might not hit as hard as the bolt-action rifle, but it fires faster, reloads quicker, and feels a lot more forgiving if you miss a shot. One of the best things about the Revolver is that you get it right out of the gate. No need to spend any lost assets just to unlock it, which makes it the ideal starting weapon for anyone looking to hit the ground running. And despite its early availability, it does not fall off like most starter weapons tend to do. Upgrade it a bit, get used to the rhythm of its fire rate, and it becomes a dependable all-around tool, especially for players who prefer a more mobile, precise playstyle. It is also one of the most versatile guns in the entire game. Whether you are dealing with a single heavy target or trying to thin out a crowd, the Revolver can adapt. Its only real downside is the small magazine and a reload that feels just slow enough to make you nervous during intense moments. But if you can manage that, this pistol will carry you through most fights with confidence. It is not the flashiest weapon in FBC Firebreak, but it is absolutely one of the most trustworthy. The pump-action shotgun is without a doubt the real MVP of FBC Firebreak. It takes everything you love about shotguns, huge damage, satisfying blasts, and that sweet stagger effect, and dials it up without adding any real downsides. You are getting great power, solid consistency, and the flexibility to keep the pressure on without stopping to reload every 2 shots like its double-barrel cousin. Thanks to the ability to cancel the reload animation between shells, you can stay in the fight and keep the rhythm going. What really makes this shotgun stand out is its surprising range. Most shotguns in first-person shooters might as well be melee weapons, but not this one. In FBC Firebreak, you can drop enemies from halfway across a room with a well-placed shot, and if the first one does not finish the job, a quick second blast almost always will. That kind of reach gives it overlap with mid-range weapons like the submachine gun, or even the machine gun, which is wild considering it still dominates in close quarters. Honestly, the pump-action shotgun feels like it was built to carry you through the entire game. Whether you are facing swarms of weaker enemies or trying to stagger a beefy heavy, this gun handles it all without blinking. It does not force you into any one playstyle. It just works every time. And in a game where versatility can make or break your loadout, that makes it hands down the best all-around weapon in your arsenal. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.